to start at 1:30.
Yeah, we know.
I thought you should be able to.
It's still telling us to check device power. Okay, I'm gonna turn it off.
Well, is there any possibility that the one underneath Keith's desk got shut off?
No?
He says no.
It's got a light on it.
Yep.
He says, yep.
The power light's on and I got a 4-2.
Battery is,
Well, take the cord out of yours and plug it into Trish's computer and see if it pulls Trish's computer up. Because that'll tell you whether it's the computer you're using or if it's something else.
it's showing me on the screen on her computer.
Yeah, it's picking up what the owl's got on.
So is this working on hers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then it just must not be connected well to the other computer because, I mean, it worked fine the other day, so you just have to, I don't know, you might have to wiggle it a little bit or something, but the main thing is to make sure that the two connections are connected into the floor and into the computer then, because it's not the cord, it's not connecting to the computer, right?
Technology.
Make sure that you don't have to push over against the wall too far and then lean in any way or pull away.
And since you have to put position, so you know, whatever. I know who you
Got it
are.
in the right one.
Oh, can I make myself up?
Jiggle it.
Well, yeah, if you want to do that.
Check device power.
And you have the computer on.
Yes, I have the folder open and I'm ready to click on it.
Immediately when I plug it in mine,
I'm not gonna need them all the
So that's what, when I do this at home with mine, as soon as I plug it in, it automatically.
Are you gonna be at your work?
It's the same.
It's the ABC, and the invites have the stuff in front of us. And I just put that little piece.
Yeah, I think
We have the stuff in front of us, you know what I mean? Like necessarily feed it on the. We don't necessarily, I mean, if they can't get it to work here, then it's fine. We have all the stuff, so.
Yeah, we need to start.
You're not them to not trying to tear up your leg and your ears now.
Yeah, it's everything. What she said earlier.
I don't like all this.
Oh, not just that, you just got a lot of bookcase behind you.
Your dad said 5.
You do.
Pretty good.
Well, while they're working on this, in the essence of time, let's go ahead and start.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
We have everything they were.
Yeah, we've got all.
Yeah, we sent everything into you.
Yeah, we have everything.
Okay, cool. I was just gonna kind of do the overall introduction and we'll stagger it, so. All right, well, thank you, county commissioners, for your time today. And I appreciate it. I'm Mickey Fernardine, President of Operations for the Chamber and Director for Economic Development. I'll introduce our contingent and then we have kind of an order that we're going for the 3 different divisions. So with me today, I have Kelly Cook, who's our Membership Director, Rob Wilson, who's our Military Affairs Director. I also have Gary Younghans, who serves as a representative from the county side on the EDC board and also on the full chamber board. I have Joel Poole, who is chairman of the full board of the chamber, and he's also vice chair of the med because Ashley is hung up at a closing, so she can't make it. She's chair of med. Matt Younghans is on the board of directors. Josh Sandlin is the chair for Military Affairs, and Mark Powers is the chair for EDC. And all of these people also serve on our large board too, as well.
You
So-
forgot.
Who did I miss?
Alan?
Oh, Alan. I'm so sorry, Alan.
That's quite all right.
Alan's on Junction City First Board and he serves on the full board. I'm so sorry. I turned this way, Alan, not that way.
Not a problem.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start, Kelly, with our membership, just has a request for additional membership dollars. So I'll let him start there and then we'll go to Rob and then myself.
Well, thank you, commissioners. It's pretty simple. You're currently at the sponsorship level of $2,525. And my ask is to go up to the additional $2,000 for the Circle of Advocates level. And not to put any competition on you, but that would put you at the same level as the city. That would be what I would ask for. Just real quick, my mission this next year is going to be focusing on strengthening member engagement and retention to ensure long-term sustainability, which just means hopefully we can recruit more businesses to become chamber members and retain them as well, providing accessible, rich programs that we're going to have going through. So it's a simple ask. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing for you, but if you could consider it, moving up the circle, that would be great for us. And if not this year, hopefully I get it put in your head to for the next years.
Well, will you, if you do the next one, could you, just so people at home know what that includes? I mean, because when you and I talked, you did talk about it being, it would be more advantageous for us because we do go to all these events to have those tickets.
Right. So yeah, if you went to, so yes, Trish, Commissioner Giordano, it gives you premium visibility at the JC annual dinner with a table of 8 and more. Recognition at 8, you'll have a recognition at 8 tickets to the new teachers breakfast as well. That's coming up here at the end of July, which I believe, Keith, you're the chairman, so also be prepared to give the speech that day.
2 years ago. I gotta do it again.
Yeah, you gotta do it again now. And then also a sponsorship of one chamber event up to $1,000. I believe this last year we sponsored the annual dinner, I believe. I have to go back and make sure.
Right.
But then it gives you enhanced online directory listings, logos, medias, and website links, and scrolling on our homepage, advertising on our homepage as well as a chamber member. And then recognition in chamber chat, framed office display, and all chamber events your logo is actually at. And if you, obviously all of you have been over to the office, but in our framed circles, we have those posted so everybody sees them. And then every business after hours, every event we go to, we also have that A-frame that has all the logos of all the circle sponsors as well. And then if there is any speeches that we have, we include all the circle sponsors in those events as well. So you're getting the visibility and your money's worth there.
How's the chamber chat going?
It goes out every Wednesday.
Yeah, I've never pulled it up.
Okay. Yeah, I know it's
Got a lot of information.
yeah, it's all the upcoming events for the next week or 2 weeks, depending on what's going on, or a month. If it's a slow month, you might reach out a little bit more. But it's for any member. Any member can advertise. And then also there's something that a lot of people don't take advantage of. We have a job board. If you guys are short employees, we actually can help advertise those as well. So, any further questions?
I know.
Thank you.
Thank you for the consideration.
You want me to go
You
in?
guys want to arm wrestle?
Commissioners, I'm Rob Wilson, Director of Military Affairs. I'm here to ask for an increase or request of $20,000. What does that mean? So as a Military Affairs Director, it is my job to build a relationship between Fort Riley and this community. By having these additional funds, it allowed me to create additional events within the community to pull those single soldiers and families off the installation and into our community. It's extremely important as we try to strengthen the bond between the city and the county and the installation itself. So what that allowed me to do is also go to additional conferences that will benefit the county, such as ADC. I currently right now have to prioritize which ones I go to based off of funding that I have. With this additional funds, it'll allow me to attend 2 of them a year, which will have access to more grants, and those that have been to ADC will understand what that actually means, the importance of it in building relationships with other defense communities across the United States, and how they do things, which will also benefit us, so we can try to request additional federal dollars to help the community. So from that, also, so you understand, it's not just going to ceremonies that I do, it's the legwork behind everything that you see within the community. Prime example is the DSIP that we're currently working on. I do a lot of the legwork behind the scenes that goes on to the military installation. I am the face on that installation, so they see someone from the community on post every single day, and I'm talking to every single individual, and the importance in trying to highlight the community itself to continuously bring those soldiers out into the community. I think that's the most important thing, and that's what this additional funding will allow me to do, more of community events to build the strength in that bond between both the installation and us, pending any questions concerning that.
I appreciate your work on the DSIP. I know you've been working really hard on that. Exciting.
You've done a good job on the activities that I went to and put together. You really did a good job.
Thank you.
Josh,
I don't have anything.
No, I think it's just with Rob and I, the relationship that we have formed. We're just really passionate about, like Rob said, bringing more family, veterans, and soldiers into the community, and recognizing that this is a home outside of Fort Riley as well, so that they feel welcome. Additionally to that, with next year, with the majority of the division being out the door, reemphasizing getting those families that are staying behind, embedded in the community, jobs, and all those things, to have them stay around as well.
and good job with the gaming you guys did.
Yeah, we'll look at doing that again, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I think it was pretty popular, so.
That it?
Yeah,
No,
thank you.
Good.
Good.
You laid it out really well.
Thank you guys very much.
Good job.
Joel, Mark says you have to come up here too. Just let you off the hook. Thank you again. So in regards to the EDC this year, of course, our job is recruitment, retention, expansion of business, whether it be small or large, and supporting them in their efforts. I've shared this number with you before, but we have numbers of total investment for major projects that the average over the last 5 years. So over the last 5 years, we've returned $105 for every dollar that the county has invested with us. We've created 733 new positions through our projects for a total investment of major projects of $233,425,000. But I think, and that's a new payroll, if you average at $18 an hour, which some of those companies are paying a lot more than $18 an hour, that's a new payroll annually over those 5 years of $27,457,920. So with that ROI, and I'll give you some additional information here in a minute, the EDC this year is asking for a $20,000 increase as well from the county, because of the fact that we have over the last 3 to 4 years received a grant from Eagle Communications, which really helped us with our marketing efforts. And we are no longer going to be receiving that grant. Eagle Communications and the Smith Family Foundation has really cut back on the grants that they're doing, and much more limited to only educational grants, not economic development grants as we were receiving. And so we have been using that money for our marketing efforts over the last several years. So we need to continue doing that. And just to give you an average, we have been working average amount over the last several years of anywhere from 55 to 65 projects per year. That does not include working with our small businesses. Those are larger RFPs that we've gotten, or projects that we work. And a lot of these projects can flow. They can take 18, 12, 16 months, 22 months to work, depending. So we've been actively engaged in an average of 55 to 65 a year, plus our small business support. And right now, with 4 current projects that we're working on, they represent over $3.5 billion worth of potential investment in this community. So it's our thought that your investment in us and our return on you for the 105 for every dollar you give us is a pretty well spent level of funding. So with that, I will open it to questions or either one of these two gentlemen to make any statements they want to make.
I would just say that you see the guys in this room, and we all have a passion for our community. We all want to see growth. We need growth in our town to sustain itself. With losing the grant from the Smith Foundation, that has really been huge. I mean, there's 50 grand that we're not going to have. And for us to sell our community, one advertising that we do has gone up over 20% in the last couple of years. And we've absorbed that, thankfully, because of the foundation. And not having that, it's hard to do. And, you know, we're trying to sell our community as well as every community that's trying to sell their community. So it is a very competitive world we live in. And with the history that Mickey has had, $105 for every dollar you've invested, the 20 grand really is a pretty safe investment. There's not a person in this room that doesn't want what's best for our community. And we all work extremely hard to make sure that happens, or try to anyway. And I think that we've really done well the last 7 years. And I don't know what would change other than not being funded. We've not asked for any additional money from the county for the last 3 years. I don't know what the state statute is. I think is 1.5%. I don't know that. I'm guessing.
1 mil or half a mil. The county gives us half a mil.
Half a mil. Well,
And that's by resolution.
That's
Yeah,
by
it's not by
resolution.
statute.
resolution.
It's by
Well, I don't think that the county has paid that for the last couple of years.
No, that's not what it's been.
Yeah, it's
I
actually,
don't think it's increased by what the evaluation has changed. I don't think that the county upped that.
it goes by the mill.
It goes by.
Lowered our mill levy 15 mils, so you are pretty
Oh,
much
so we're
close.
probably close.
Yes,
I
yeah, because
gotcha.
right now, our valuation is about 303,000, and you're getting almost 150,000, 145, so you're close.
Close.
I think the other thing I would mention too, because Rob brought this up, and I think it's important for both divisions when you talk about getting out there and knowing what the assets and the resources and marketing are. So I just returned from a major site selection conference that was held in Georgia. And I could question the why of this, but I think it's a good thing. I was the only Kansan present with all those site selectors. Nobody else from Kansas was there to be representing our region, this community, and our state. I think that's a big thing to be seen and talk to, you know, site selectors who do hundreds of millions of dollars investment across this country. And then one of those projects that I just mentioned to you literally came directly to us as a result of one of our ads that we placed. And that's a $125 million project. So, I mean, I can tell you that those are the numbers that are kind of helping with that as well. So, sorry, Joel.
You're okay. From the overall chamber perspective, I would just tout the fact that we have 6 sets of booths on the ground every day within that office that are fully bought into the mission of the chamber, what they're trying to do, advance this community, advance the businesses and the people within the community. The 6 people that are within that organization right now are the best that's been there in a very, very long time. I'm not old enough to remember way back, but I'm old enough to remember the recent future, or the recent past, I'm sorry. And I'm very, very impressed. And I think Mickey said it earlier, you've got a set of individuals behind us here that share that same sentiment. And I think those sets of individuals that you see back there tell you the story. The boots on the ground within the chamber right now are the best we've had in a very long time. Progressing the mission is very, very important to them, and you see that on a daily basis.
I agree with you on that. And I know I've made some of you mad with some of the things I've asked, and you know, and you came through as far as the information that I was asking for. I mean, it's a little bit different. You guys are all successful business people, but when you're dealing with public money, it's a little bit different. And so that is why I was demanding a little more transparency on things. And that was the only reason why. Not that I thought anything was going on. I just felt like as an elected official, people were coming to me and I wanted them to see that I was looking into things. And I've seen an improvement on information. I have seen, having, the small business, what's his name again?
Frank Poirier.
Frank, back, I think is gonna be an
We like
asset,
working with Frank.
him coming back, because I've heard good things about him, and so I'm glad he's back. So I appreciate that, and I hope you understand why I did
No,
what I
we
did.
do. We do.
Yeah, we just need to communicate that better, because I was totally,
Yes, you were.
we're good now.
The key is that you
Yeah, we're good
keep
now.
communicating, right?
Yeah, I
The key is
agree.
that you
The
keep
key is, and
communicating.
that's probably the biggest problem with anything is miscommunication and. I'm
How
gonna
one
talk about
person
that at
says
the
it
meeting
versus how
today.
one person hears it. I get it.
So,
But I think that you guys know that the money that you've spent has been spent well, wisely. And there would be a whole lot more board members here if they didn't have to work. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page, truly.
And we got texts from 3 of the slackers who said they couldn't make it.
You guys have any questions of
Any
us?
other questions from any of us?
Is there anything else we should be doing or could be doing?
I'm happy with this small business thing. That was one of my things that had concern that people had brought, and I've seen that. And then having the information and putting the information out there like you did, the videos and explaining to people what economic development is, because I don't think people understand that.
It is, it's much
We
tougher
are-
to understand than chamber membership maybe or military. It's,
Yeah,
and part of it is because it is so, there's such an element to it of confidentiality that you have to be careful. But no, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But I do think, I truly enjoy working with our team. I think we're all committed to it. We really appreciate your support. We would appreciate the additional support to keep growing this and building the opportunities that we have ahead of us. Because we do have a lot of really awesome opportunities.
yeah, I think it's a great time for our community. I mean, I think city and county are in the best financial shape they've been in for a long time, and and I hope we get this DSIP. That's going to be a game changer.
Yeah.
Pray.
It's huge. Well, and I think that we're gonna get that presented earlier than,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
Trish
at the
was
last
just in
oh,
the
you were
meeting
in the meeting.
Yeah,
so
We're
because
gonna-
this is making a nice third meeting together
Yeah.
today.
That's a good thing.
Busy day today.
I'm
Thank you.
good.
Questions?
Okay, we're
All
good.
right,
Thank you.
we'll move on and let you get busy. Thank you very much. Oh, if you have hard questions, please ask Alan, since I.
Yeah. Got his number.
Think we go.
We can go, let the next people file in. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for your time.
See you later, Mr. Younghands.
Tonight.
Yep.
Howard Corey came on.
Thank you.
It's all right. We have it here. Don't stress out about Lisa if you can't get it to work. You know how technology is. It sucks.
Can I send it to you and you put it on your computer?
Well, I don't know if it's gonna, because when I plugged it in, it did the owl, so I don't know. We can try. I guess we could try.
I send you the file?
And then maybe I can just open up, if I open up a different screen, but I don't know if it'll shut the owl off. Or maybe Kathy, you want to try on yours and see if it does? Because when we plugged it in, the owl came up from there. So.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to get it to send to you. It doesn't have a.
Was Josh Sandlin the one that was up there with?
Yes, yes. He's the military affairs chair.
Oh.
Keith, did you pay for ADC yet? Did you pay for You guys come on in. You don't want to? Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Laura.
Are we up?
Yeah, if you want to go.
Sure, absolutely.
We're ahead of schedule.
Well, we can go with that. Kathy, I don't believe we have met, but my name is Lori Feldkamp, and I am the newly retired CEO of Big Lakes Developmental Center. This is our new CEO, Liz Hawley, who I brought with me today. She took over effective June 1st. This is our last county budget hearing. I told her I would come over and help with that, and the board contracted with me to help with the transition pretty much through the end of the year, so we make sure everything goes smoothly.
How many years?
31.
Wow.
31
You have
years.
some big shoes to fill.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But believe me, she's what, 6 foot, and no problem. No problem.
I do have bigger feet.
But I'll let Liz tell you a little bit about her background. She's been with Big Lakes for 17 years.
18 next month.
Yeah.
So I started as a para, and then I've started as a direct support staff working in our residential program, and then I've worked in almost all of our programs in all the different departments that we have in case management. And then I've been a director. I was most recently the deputy operations officer. So I feel like I, in many ways, grew up at Big Lakes, and at least as an adult. So.
And you were going to K-State when you first came to work for us part-time, and she just finished her master's degree in nonprofit management. So, so we're very excited to have her in. She really has just slid right in, and of course there's bumps here and there, but there's bumps with operation no matter who's there. So that's just the way that works. But I am thrilled to have Liz take the position, and I know that she's going to do a fantastic job. I have no doubt. So, okay, well, I'll go ahead and get started on the report that I had prepared for you all back in April with our request for our appropriation for 2026. Big Lakes continues to serve approximately 200 clients. That number is growing. We have been accepting admissions here recently after many years of not accepting admissions. We're going to be pretty capped here pretty soon. Our biggest obstacle to growth and serving more people continues to be hiring enough people to provide the service, our direct support professionals. I think all businesses are really having trouble with workforce shortages and so forth, and we are no different than that. I think what makes us a little unique is I think it takes a very unique individual to be able to provide the support and services that our population requires. Not everybody can do that kind of thing, and that's okay. But that also really narrows down who is a possibility for employment at Big Lakes. And of course, we only want the best for our folks as well. We're 24/7. Filling those night shifts are really hard. Weekends are really hard. Residential is definitely our biggest challenge as far as filling positions. But we continue to, if we were fully employed, we'd have 229 people on board. As it is, we're about 178, I think, at this point in time. We continue to provide adult day residential, center-based employment training, community employment, and case management. The number of people that we serve from Geary County is 27 at the present time. We have received county mill levy. To give you a little bit of background, Kathy, Big Lakes was founded back in 1973, and we have received county mill levy from Geary County since 1973.
Yeah.
The program was originally started a very small day service program that was provide services in Riley, Geary, Potawatomi, and Clay County. They all kind of came together around 1973, and there was no such thing as federal funding for this kind of thing, and parents came together to form this organization to serve their adult children and to get them vocational training and day services provided for them. And it was the counties that got it started for us. Now, since then, of course, it's evolved over a period of time. Of course, we got social service block grants back in the 80s from the federal government, and then that slowly switched over to Medicaid. That is our primary source of funding is Medicaid under the Home and Community-Based Service Waiver Program. I always like to clarify that. Yes, we do get Medicaid, but it's a waiver program, and the reason there's a differentiation between the two. Medicaid you often think of as a mandated program. It's something that if you're eligible, you get those services. Waiver services are not like that under Medicaid. If you have health issues, if you need medical insurance under Medicaid and you qualify, you get that service. Waiver services are not required by the federal government. It's something that they have funded over the last almost 40 years. What the original purpose of it was to move individuals out of state institutions and into community service programs like what Big Lakes provides. And that's what it has done over that period of time. And right now in Kansas, there's only 2 state institutions that are still around, Parsons State Hospital and KNI in Topeka. And the population in those 2 state hospitals is less than 300 individuals. Everybody else, over 9,000 people in the state of Kansas, are served by community service programs. So the waiver has grown significantly over that period of time. But because it is a waiver and it's not a mandated service, that means there can be waiting lists for our services, which that is something that we've had to deal with since about 2001. And I'll talk a little bit more about that into detail in a little bit. But since then, again, county mill levy dollars have been shifted away from actual service provision into our transportation program. The individuals that we serve, the adults that we serve, 99% of them cannot drive. And because of that, they need transportation provided for them. Now, we do take advantage of any kind of public program that is possible, Adibus and so forth, for individuals who can negotiate those routes and so forth and can do that. But the vast majority of the individuals we serve cannot. So we have to continue to provide transportation services, and we pay for that with county mill levy dollars. We also charge a monthly fee to our clients. We also secure vehicles. We get KDOT grants for the large buses that we need, especially accessible buses for the individuals that we serve. So that is what county mill levy is used for. We also use that county mill levy to match that grant for getting those buses whenever we request those. And we send in an application every year. So, okay. As I said, 99% of our clientele don't have the intellectual or physical capacity to drive, and our residential services has to have vehicles as well. We have a fleet of over 40 vehicles that we maintain. We try and get them on a regular schedule for replacement. We apply for other grants for replacing vehicles as well, wherever we can. But again, county mill levy is what helps sustain that program. We have to have funding for operations, and that's what county mill levy does. It pays for maintenance, it pays for our gas and oil, all of that, so. Okay, our appropriation request for 2026, we're requesting a 2% increase, which is a total of $2,003 more than what was allocated in 2025. And again, for increased costs, it's always a roll of the dice. I never know what to plan for the next year. I will tell you that I'm planning an increase because insurance goes up. And our vehicle insurance will go up. We've already heard that from our insurance folks. Maintenance costs are going up. I have lots of questions, as everybody does out there, as far as what kind of tariffs are going to be implemented and what that will mean to auto parts, because so many of them are made overseas. So I'm anticipating increased costs there, but I don't know what that number is. Usually when I'm requesting money, I'm kind of behind the curve regarding that, because I don't want to request more than what we really need. But as you can see in our finances, we're usually operating a little bit at a loss because we're kind of behind the times. And I'm not very good with my crystal ball as far as determining exactly what gas prices are going to be or what our insurance is going to cost. So it's the best guess that I can come up with. And I do expect an increase. As far as programs and services, I'm expecting our budget to be pretty flat. We did receive a increase in our service rates for our HCBS Medicaid funding from the state, but it was only about 1.5%. So it's not a great deal. Maybe that will pay for our insurance increase. I have no idea. But it's not a huge increase for us. They also did put money in to the state budget to take 200 individuals off of the waiting list for this next year, which is always appreciated. But I will also tell you that that won't replace the growth that we will see. It usually grows anywhere between 300 and 500 people a year. So it
Statewide.
Yeah, statewide. So our waiting list numbers, if you look, back in March, statewide is 4,706, and the Big Lakes 4-county area, it's 122. 24 of them are from Geary County. The wait time is still about 10 years. So we're not seeing any kind of significant work there done. One of the things that is going on at the state, and I mentioned this at our last budget hearing last year, is the state is working on a new waiver to submit to the federal government, which is to help address the waiting list. Color me skeptical, but as much as I would love to see that happen, I just don't see it happening at the federal level. With what they are talking about with cuts of programs and so forth, I think any kind of new submission of a new waiver at the federal level is going to meet resistance, because it will cost more money at the federal level to fund. I hope I'm wrong. I'm hopeful that if we can get that waiver approved, that the state will put up the match that's necessary to bring down the federal funds. I just don't know what kind of reception that they will have at the federal level once they get that put together. I'm going to let Liz talk a little bit more about some of the changes that are coming our way from the federal and the state level that also will have an impact on operations for us, just to give you kind of an overview of some of the strange stuff that's going on.
So I've been participating in some of the work groups with the KDADs. They are wanting to take what day services right now is one umbrella. We have day services and then supported employment, so that's jobs in the community. And taking that as one service and dividing up into 7 different services, which means then clients are then going to have to decide, here's my plan for the next year, and put that on their plan of care with the MCO for how we support them, which is going to reduce choice in being able to choose how they're spending their day, if they're working or doing life skills or what. But a big push is to be out in the community, which is always our goal. But some of that is just community-based services where they will be fully in the community. And then that, of course, is going to require more staffing resources and more transportation. And then there's concerns about conflict of interest with case managers being part in our building and the CDDO being attached, which there's 27 CDDOs across the state of Kansas, and 20 of them are affiliated with a provider. So there's those changes specifically. And then also there's been a tool that that the state has used for a very long time to determine people eligible. And then it also determines what tier level of support that they need. And that's how we get funded, is based on that tier level. The state is looking at changing that to a new tool to determine eligibility. And then they've kind of going back and forth on whether it's going to be a 1-tier or a 3-tier rate. But all of those services that I was talking about, those 7 different services, would then maybe have 7 different rates. The state has said there'll be different rates, but hasn't really told us. And then on those tier levels, that might be 1 tier, might be 3 tiers, not sure. And that's supposed to all take place this year. Really soon, actually. And there's the plan, I think last I knew, is that the MCO is the one that would get the information and then determine the tier level, which are the ones that are paying for the services. So that creates kind of a conflict on making sure that clients are getting what they need and how they want, if something is more expensive than something else, So lots of, I keep saying that there's a lot happening and nothing happening at the same time as far as that goes, because everybody kind of is also looking at it. We're going to have a new state administration next year. So they're trying to get some things done, but also looking at that maybe their jobs will be changing in the next year. And then we have a completely new federal administration. So everything we're working on is from the past administration from CMS. So the new CMS, would they even see it the same? Or don't know.
And I just thought,
Yeah.
having this information, again, nothing that you need to act on, nothing that's urgent. What I wanted you to hear about all this is the potential that it has to increase our transportation costs. Because if they're not covering the costs of us getting people out in the community more than what we already are, that money has to come from somewhere.
All of these changes are supposed to remain budget neutral.
Yeah. No new money. It's all within the same pot. And they still haven't figured it out. And like Liz says, we take some leaps. They'll announce this is what they're going to do. And then 2 months later, they come back and say, no, well, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to do this. And then 2 months later, they come out and say, no, that's not what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. We'll get something out soon. So we're just kind of in this hover mode at this point in time. And that really makes it very difficult to plan our budget for 2026, because we have no idea what kind of impact this is going to have. So, but in the meantime, we are always appreciative of what how our counties has supported us over the last 53 years, and how we can count on you all to understand the importance of community services and what it is that we do, and how important it is for our families and the people that we support. So if there's any questions that you have about anything Big Lakes related, Liz is here to answer them. And again, she can't get rid of me that fast. I'm going to be here to support her and help her, especially with this budget stuff. It's really, I thought it was cruel to throw her into a new budget cycle with completely different rules when she doesn't have a real good understanding of what it is right now. So I want things to be stable and people to feel good that Big Lakes is going to continue to do what we do, and we will. We just got to get it figured out.
So Kathy, do you get the newsletter? Because she don't know.
We can make sure you get, what is your email address?
Kathy.Tremont@GaryCounty.org.
Okay, we can get you added to our newsletter. We send one out every month. Although we had change in our marketing person, there's a new one coming out for the quarter, and then we'll be back on a regular schedule. She had a baby, and it's kind of crazy.
I hear about Pawnee a lot. I've got some friends in Clay County that has a son there that talked about the waiting period, which that is sad that, where did those folks go? Then you say 10-year waiting period.
I get that. I get that question a lot, and my answer is the vast majority of them, we spend invest a lot in special ed programs in our schools, all right, which is absolutely necessary. having early intervention is key for individuals who have intellectual disability as well as mental health disorder of any kind. We invest in that, and then the individual graduates out of high school. They graduate to their parents' couch. And what we have found is when you have someone who's on a waiting list for 10 years and they've been on their parents' couch, I use that term lightly, but usually the parents then they have a decision to make. Can their son or daughter stay at home by themselves? Do they have to find somebody to watch them? Does one of them have to quit their job to stay home with them? All those are questions that those families have to figure out. And then when the 10 years pass and they get their funding and they come into Big Lake Services, they've lost so many of the skills that they learned in special ed, and we're starting over. And unfortunately, what we've seen with so many is they've learned the value of sitting and watching TV and playing video games, and what we want is work. We want them to understand the value of employment and getting out and being a productive individual, and it just takes more time and more money, more resources.
Well, this particular individual, I know, well, number one, if the choice was, he has talked about not taking him out, we said, why don't he stay home? Well, if he takes him out, then he loses his spot. But on the other hand, he's not going to miss out. So he's gotten used and loves living there, and he has a job and stuff. So that's wonderful, wonderful service.
Yeah, and that's one thing to note is that all of our routes, the Junction City bus that we operate is our fullest bus, and all back pretty close to capacity from all the people that we're taking every day from Junction City to Manhattan to work, but in the community and in our services. So.
Yeah. And again, any questions, be sure and holler at us, and we'll do what we can to get you any kind of information that you're looking for. Things are always changing and different. We'll definitely get you on our newsletter, because that's I'm glad you suggested that, Keith, because that's a great way of learning what we do and how we do it, and individual stories and so forth about our services.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Our clients also run a news crew. So if you go out to our YouTube channel, our clients do their own version of what's going on at Big Lakes, and it's completely them being the newscasters of everything that's going on. So it's a pretty cool way to see.
Every month, there's something new.
Any questions?
Thank you again for your support over the years.
Congratulations on your return.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My time is now under new management. It's called grandchildren.
Well, thank you. Nice to
Thank you.
meet you.
Yes,
Liz.
nice to meet you. I look forward to working with you.
Well, I just stepped right up. I hope that's okay.
I like it.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I brought
You're a short timer,
reinforcements.
so you don't care.
I know. I did bring reinforcements with me though, so I just wanted to introduce them. This is Donna Porter. She's our assistant director. Emily Burtis, who's the head of our young people's department, and then Ashley Todd, who heads our circulation department. So I told them to look mean, so you let me know how they did. I usually kind of give a quick rundown of how things work with our organization. And we do get, you can tell from our budget, we get funding for the library from the city, from the county, and a little bit from the state, as well as a few other pots of money that we generate locally, including some interest income, some gifts, grants, and then some local income. What we call local income, it's like copying and printing and things like that. Our funding from the county stretches back to at least 1959, and at that time we got $2,000 to help run the library. And the purpose of that addition was to take library services that were being provided to people in Junction City and to extend them out countywide. And we do that to this day. Our current request is unchanged from last year. We're at $120,000. And our library is governed by a board of trustees. There are 8 people, and that includes the mayor, who's an ex officio member of the board. And with the support of the commission and the mayor, they appoint new members of the library board. This organization system is in the state statutes, and our board bylaws do extend the eligibility for board service to any Geary County resident. So all of those taxpaying citizens have representation. Among the areas of responsibility for the board that's provided by the statutes is to establish a budget and secure funding, and they have acted within that authority in this budget. For 2026, we're continuing our efforts to upgrade our salary and wages, so we can recognize the value of our current staff, but also be competitive when we have to replace staff. The library board reviewed and discussed this budget and adopted it at their May meeting. And so with that, I won't belabor the individual line items in the budget, but I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about them. As far as what's going on with us right now, we are well into summer reading, which is almost in every public library sort of thing, and we do it every summer. And so in addition to the program we're offering at the library, we're also extending that reading incentive program to some summer school sites, some other childcare sites. We're working on setting up 2 new ones right now, so that we can kind of spread that word and basically keep kids reading over the summer. We are well past 500 in terms of the number of children and adults we have enrolled in summer reading now. We have an adult summer reading program and have for many years. And that program will end on July 21, so we'll keep signing up people all the way to the end. I think everybody knows our community has a big summer transition with the change in Fort Riley, and so we'll be seeing new people from the military and civilian all the way to the program's end. We're off to a great start. We had a great kickoff event last month where we had well over 300 people attend, and we had our first summer story time, I guess I'd say, at earlier this week on Tuesday, and we had 52 kids and adults in the room at that for preschool story time. That's pretty good. And we were about 60 at a Lego program earlier this week, and also had another really nice crowd at just our usual monthly STEM program that took place yesterday, I believe. So we're having great attendance. People are responding. It's very gratifying to know that people are enjoying the program. They're turning out, and I believe we're giving them something that they want and need. We had someone here to help us with one of our insurance coverages. She was doing open enrollment, and she was out on the main part of the library for a while, and she said, "You guys are busy all day long," and it's pretty much. We have a steady flow of people, so things are going well, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
I think you and your staff do a wonderful job, and
Yeah.
we are very lucky because there is a lot of stuff going on at the library.
There is.
My only question would be, well, first of all, the kickoff event was wonderful. Thanks for inviting me, and
Yeah.
thanks for the little gift.
You bet.
But it was to see the parents and the kids. I mean, it was more than I expected. So, but my question is, where do we stand on expansion, new library? Where are we at on that?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because I was going to let you know that the board and I talked about it on Monday. And right now, one of the things we're going to be doing is reaching out to all 3 of you, as well as the city commissioners, to come in, sit down and talk with us about the expansion, show you the drawings we have, and then we talk about where we go from here to try to help put together the dollars and what have you to fund that project. It's a challenge, I think you all know, but, particularly as people come to you, people come to the city with various projects and what have you, I just want you all to remember that we're there, and we definitely have a pretty significant need, and just to help us figure out how we can do this thing.
That's a challenge.
So keep that in mind when you get that Will you get that text or email from me asking you to come on down?
I don't have anything.
I don't have
else.
anything. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you. Did they do their job back there?
Yeah. They look real mean.
Terrified, menacing.
Look at them smiles.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
I'm gonna slip down the hall real quick. I got a phone call. Did you get it going, Lindsay?
How are you guys?
I sent them to Trish. Did you get it?
Oh, you sent me something?
Yeah. The Adobe. Let's see if you can.
You want me to try it? I need to plug in. I don't know, we'll see. See, it's on the, I have this open. Did you get my email about, I got something about MIA training with Kathy's. Okay. What time are you folks? I'm just hanging out. I'm joking. You put her in there. That's yeah, because that's the same age. It was in there earlier, senior citizens. Courtney. I'm Courtney. No, it's been in here. Saturday. This is Jerry. It's you need Jerry. How do you change the? Should be just name change. Hold up, patrons. No, this is the only one they have to. I'll just get it out. Oh, see, okay, here, I got it out there. Okay.
Where you'll be able to. You should be able to the next document. Let me cover my right eye now. Yes, it should be. Screen. Then we can see it's out, it's still on. Somebody's telling you to.
But saying that still last year, so during exercise. Okay.
Yeah, I'll have to ask them to do exercise again.
Probably, as long as there's interest.
There you
Sal, you're ready. We'll wait until Teresa gets back.
Hi, ladies.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Thank you.
So if you introduce yourselves and
Okay, I'm Sally Jardine, Treasurer for Geary County Senior Citizens.
And I'm Courtney Coben. I'm the director there.
We thought we would have our president also, Susan Davis, but she's having surgery or shoulder something today, so she was not able to attend. Yeah, she's not having.
Almost as boring or bad as the budget.
It is as bad as a budget hearing, isn't it? Probably. All right, well, this is not our first time here, of course. And I think most of you are familiar with what we do. The thing is we are doing it better and better and better, and that's a good thing. Courtney has been our director for a year and a half.
Mhm.
You want to tell them all the wonderful things you're doing? She's just fabulous.
Yeah, so when I started at the senior center, I made a lot of big changes, kind of bringing it into the 21st century, if you will. And so now my really big goals are I'm working on funding for some systems to help me optimize our Meals on Wheels route and also to optimize our dispatching system for our 5311 disabled and elderly transportation. We have a lot of customers out in Milford that we don't get to service because we're so busy in town. We would have to, not service 6 people in town to service 1 in Milford. So that's my big goal with our transportation right now, is to be able to service Milford. Other than that, I'm still really heavy on all of our activities. We've started partnering with more, I'm not sure what you would call them, I guess councils. We always have our paint class with the Arts Council. We've also started hosting the Quilters Guild each first Tuesday. We have a couple different hospice companies that come in once a month and do engagement activities with our customers, whether it's just acknowledge or informing them on things like depression and anxiety and dementia and just topics that are important to them.
Nice. The person that's out in Milford, have they tried to use Adibus, do you know?
Yeah, so I do direct them to Adibus and GMB Enterprises because they're in town and they do wheelchair accessibility too. But I was talking with our mobility manager at ATA, and our services are really special in that they're only $2 and it is on demand. So you can call us and say, hey, like my ride canceled, but I'm already at the hospital. Can you take us home? And it's a luxury that we get to do that.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, do you know, has the Milford person tried not been able to access Adibus, do you know? Or if you could find that out for me?
Yeah, it's not that they're not able to, it's that Adibus has a much different scheduling system.
They have on demand.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how their on demand works.
Okay.
I'd have to ask more about that from my Adibus manager.
I think what she's asking is there can be gaps in service and maybe education in service, getting it out to people to know how to use on demand.
Well, that was what my point was, and then what you're.
Well, yeah,
saying
we
as
want to
well.
make sure that our people out in the county are able to use Adibus because we fund them as well.
Oh, yeah, from what I understand, they do definitely have coverage there. I don't think
Well, if
it's a
that
matter.
person has any issues, yeah, make sure that they address them with Adibus or let one of us know.
Okay.
Okay.
But there is definitely, and that's what we visited about yesterday, the need for seniors to get, on the outside, any place that the people need to have those accessibility to, if they're unable to travel themselves or they don't have a caregiver that are able to take them somewhere. I think that we just need to work hard on trying to get the services for our seniors, because that's a lot of what I've heard when I was out on the streets talking to people is there's just not a lot, especially out in the rural areas, of getting transportation, so.
We actually had our annual CTD meeting with KDOT and Adibus on Tuesday, and they are definitely working on not just Adibus and KDOT, like some of the contractors they work with to design their routes. That is something that they're discussing, is trying to get into the rural communities, which is why I really, really, really want to get these grants so that I can expand.
Did you say the senior bus runs every day of the week and it serves just the people in Junction City?
We run Monday through Friday, and it services Junction City and Grandview Plaza.
So, and there's not a day that considered to maybe go that way to the western part of the county?
It's a struggle because our current service ability is pretty much maxed out because we take people in the afternoons to different things.
That's all day, it's just filled up pretty much all day.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's consideration or whatever for future, but I just thought I would mention along with Trish is, with ATA bus or the transportation in Geary County overall for senior citizens is not good.
Yes.
I just passed our bus when I was coming here and waved at Quentin, so he's still on the job. Now, I want to tell you, we do deliver meals to Milford. I believe there are 6 persons in Milford. I'm sorry, that's Grandview. You smacked me. We deliver meals in Grandview, and we can deliver meals in Milford. If someone wanted, but for someone to be able to come to the center is so much more beneficial than just me knocking on their door and handing them, here's your lunch, eat your lunch by yourself.
Sure. Yeah, right.
So yes, the transportation is something.
Well, there's also a social effect if they come out there.
Yeah, invaluable. Yes, it just is. If you had to sit in your house 7 days a week because of mobility, yes. Getting out just for 3 or 4 hours is wonderful.
Yep.
On the other side of that coin though, sometimes it is hard to get people to participate in the senior center. A lot of our homebounders have grown, dare I say, too comfortable in being homebound.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I'm out and about and I meet new people and I invite them to the senior center, they're almost a little bit offended that I suggested they're old enough for it. So I am working on ways to kind of make it seem more inviting and exciting to be there, but.
Nice.
Any questions?
No, thank you for what you do.
No?
Is there anything you guys are looking for in particular outside of expanding our transportation from us?
No, I think the Meals on Wheels, I subbed some and I really enjoyed it. And you haven't called me for a while, but yeah, I think it is a great program. But yeah, I do agree with you. Some people are very comfortable staying home.
Yeah.
I did it for Live Well, and I'd spent more time talking, so what was supposed to be an hour visit was a couple hours.
Well, one thing I will say, from what I've heard, what do I want to call it? All the entities are getting along much better out there than in the past.
Yeah, I really enjoy working with the extension office.
Okay.
I'm lucky to have them as partners.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the times I've been out there, Courtney, I know with the garage sale, the setting up, I don't know how it's going. It was going good, and I think just if you keep it going for a little bit, I think more will continue to join on. But, just the 3 of you that were out there working your tails off, it's nice that you do that. You do a good job.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for hearing us.
Frank, how are you?
Right.
My buddy, my pal.
In case you don't know, I'm Frank Catello. I'm the Silver Hair Legislature. I was here about 3 weeks ago, so you know what you're familiar with what I do, right? So I was gonna say, I'm here short. I'm just asking for, I think, $600 that we we asked for last time. And if you have any questions, you know that our goal is to help seniors in the state of Kansas. We try to persuade our legislature that the issues that's gonna help seniors. And we're hoping we're gonna make a difference this year. And the big thing that we have that we're looking for is the Medicare expansion. That's the big thing. And I think I told you last time that if it doesn't pass this next legislative session, it's gonna be dead. I understand. So, do you guys have any questions?
No, you do a wonderful job, and I'm glad you do.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
for doing that.
And I gotta wait for, my, the area agency in aging, Julie. I'm gonna be with her too, so I'm gonna meet her.
I know you're
Thank you.
double dipping into there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Frank.
Appreciate you.
Sure,
Ready?
you bet.
Yeah, we're ready.
Good afternoon. I do have a thumb drive if you want to put the,
She's got
she's
it,
in charge of it. Okay.
yeah,
Put the PowerPoint up.
she's got the PowerPoint though. We were able to email it to her.
I don't
I
know.
think you probably the worksheet, not the PowerPoint.
No, I mean, I'm doing the PowerPoint. I'm working everything, the owl and
I know you can handle it, Trish.
everything. I'm not very computer literate, so.
Put it in, open, and that's it. I do have
Hold on a second,
printed copies for
calm down.
you three. You're welcome.
Hey, when we're done here, I can just come on over.
Let's do it.
You got great, got somebody to help me out?
I do.
Okay.
Or I'll help you.
Okay.
Well, hang on a second.
Were you the plumber? Were you the plumber?
Yeah. Well, I understand they had another leak issue.
Oh,
It was clean water this time,
Okay.
not sewage.
Yeah.
So yes, it caused quite a bit of damage, but not as much as the last time, thank goodness.
Jeremy called me yesterday to
Yeah.
inform me.
We are airing the place out currently. We're hoping by tonight or tomorrow, we'll start putting things back together.
And what was it from this time?
We put a new valve in
Yeah.
behind these showers and stuff. It started leaking because our pressure is extremely high. So now we're looking at some measures of getting some type of a pressure reducer on the lines. The pressures can spike anywhere between 60 to 110, if not even more. The valves are only equipped to handle about 80 PSIs. I don't think anyone knew it spiked that much until it happened, and then we tested it. Just bad luck.
Yeah.
Wasn't an
I
intentional,
don't think it
nothing,
was anybody's fault.
nothing intentional, just bad luck and high water pressure, so. Okay. I will go ahead and start the, Nate Beckman, by the way, Geary County Sheriff. I'll go ahead and start the 2026 budget proposal. First, we'll go over the agenda. I'll talk about our mission, our overall office breakdown, personnel and responsibilities. I'll review the 2024 year. We'll talk about revenue that is projected to come in for 2026, budget review overall, and then key considerations at the end to consider. Mission statement. The mission of the men and women of the Geary County Sheriff's Office is to safeguard the lives, constitutional rights, and property of those in our community by fairly and impartially enforcing state and local laws while relentlessly pursuing those who commit crimes and bring them to justice. We will perform our public safety and custodial duties with honor, courage, compassion, fidelity, while holding ourselves accountable to the community we serve. We will uphold the Constitution of the state of Kansas and the Constitution of the United States of America. If you guys go to the next slide, there'll be an overall office breakdown. We have 36 sworn employees and we have 39 correction staff. Those numbers include COs, deputies, and all the supervisors. We have 9 administrative support staff, 6 part-time personnel for a total of 90 employees projected for 2026. The organizational chart will clearly show you this is sheriff, the under sheriff, and then we have financial analyst, IT director in-house, a major in corrections. Underneath the major in corrections, we have a captain position, which is currently vacant now. As you've heard, Captain Cook switched to another entity in the county. Underneath the correction side, we have just the operations and then some administrative support. Switching over to operations. Operations has investigations and patrol underneath, as well as under patrol, we have SRO. We had 1 SRO in this current year, but we are contracting with the school district for a high probability of 2, it looks like. Canines, we have 3 canines currently, 2 that are actively out there every shift working, and 1 that's out there with the undersheriff when the undersheriff has time to go patrol. We have a Marine unit, the special response team underneath patrol. Moving on to the administrative side of things, we have a captain, a lieutenant, and a sergeant. And then we also have evidence specialists. We have a dive team under our sergeant and admin. And then we have administrative services personnel. We have 3 court deputies and 2 civil process employees. Just operations in general is going to be ran by Captain McCorrick. As you can see, the responsibilities of operations is 24/7 response and active patrol, land and water, since we do have the Marine and dive unit. Primary function of the operations division is serve and protect the community. They respond to critical incidents. They investigate all cases, and they provide field training to employees. On the operations side only, that consists of 17 deputies and 10 supervisors. And I will go ahead and note that we have made a change since I was elected as sheriff. We took the special operations unit, which was separate, and we combined that with the operations unit to patrol to help with our resources and channel those where I want to be and more cost effective. As you can see on the organization chart right there under Captain McCorrick, he has day watch A, night watch A, day watch B, and night watch B. So 4 shifts. Each shift has a lieutenant, and each shift is designed to have 4 sergeants and 3 deputies. 1 shift does have 4, and the reason 1 shift has 4 is that SRO leaves to go to the school. We like to have each shift with 3 deputies. Now we do have a extra lieutenant, so they're filling the sergeant spot because Sergeant Clark was moved over to admin sergeant at that time, actually accreditation manager. Underneath the investigations division, we have a lieutenant that runs the investigations division and 2 deputies. 1 deputy will be full-time under investigations. 1 will be an 18-month rotator. And I implemented that rotator for a reason. Not a lot of people on the deputy side gets that experience. And that experience of working investigations, those big scale operations, they respond first to a call. There may not be any mishaps now because they fully understand from A to Z how that operation should go. And it's going to provide better service quickly out to the community. So I thought that was important to have that extra detective. We do have plans to join forces again with Junction City Police Department, once again, to utilize our resources together to provide the best response to the community. As I mentioned before, we do have a special response team, that's AKA also SWAT team, and we're going to work on agreements to join back with Junction City again as well to focus our resources and be more cost effective. Moving on to the next slide will be our admin division. Responsibilities include VIN inspections, As I mentioned, we do have 3 of those. We have 2 that generally work locally here in Junction, and then we have 1 that primarily does Riley County VIN inspections. They serve writs, evictions, protection orders, and summons and subpoenas. Admin Division takes care of court security and transportation. They do all the reporting for KCC post, records and case management, office inventory, IT responsibilities, take care of our training program, and our accreditation management system is under the admin area. Looking at the organization chart, you can see Captain Gilbert is our captain, then Lieutenant Jones, and then we have Sergeant Clark. The 2 civil process individuals, they report to Jones. Then we have the 3 VIN inspectors reporting to Jones, the civilian manager that oversees the 5 other supports and admin, she supervises them. And then Sergeant Clark, we made the move to put the 3 court deputies under Sergeant Clark. He also is in charge of the DI team. Moving on to the corrections division. Responsibilities, capacity to house 160 plus inmates. Our average daily population has been between roughly 96 and 100. And 100 has kind of been the number for like the last 4 years. You kind of go up, you kind of go down, but I would say an average in 4 or 5 years has been 100 inmates on a daily average. Their responsibilities include safeguard inmate population and ensure appropriate classification, support medical, dental, food, and pharmaceutical and other services, provide inmate escorts to court and other facilities, provide training to employees. As you can see on the organization chart, we have a major who oversees the captain, jail clerk, and then our classification officer. Below, we have 2 support COs. And the reason we have 2 is I added 1 is because our facility is in desperate need and I cannot pull COs off the floor to go do all these facility needs. So we needed 2 support officers who they can kind of fill in and go around and deal with the issues that we have in our facility, which is constantly issues of leaking and things breaking and things need to be cleaned. We have 2 individuals in the court, a sergeant and another CO. And then the primary shifts are day shift A, day shift B, night shift A, night shift B. As you can see, there's a lieutenant and sergeant on each shift. And then there is going to be 6 COs assigned per shift. Generally speaking, there's almost always somebody gone for sick, leave, or training. So it looks like we have 8. I would say we operate primarily with 6 or 7, which is bare bones. Doing a review of 2024 so we can compare our numbers to 24. Calls for service for the entire year was 15,276. Civil papers served, 3,493. We did 7,866 VIN inspections. As you can see, roughly 38 was in Geary and 4,000 was in Riley. 1,590 citations. We had a total booking of inmates or arrests as 2,340. The total involvement that involved the Geary County Sheriff's Department deputies or COs was 1,319. That's a little over half of the arrests we're involved in. That might just be a warrant arrest, but we have to go back and book them on the warrant arrest. We had 167 drug investigations in 2024. And as you can see, in 2024, the ADP was around 100, to be exact, 101. Moving on to revenue. I will not go into every little detail of revenue unless you guys want me to, but total revenue for the general fund in 2024 was $817,334. In the non-general fund, it was $229,106. We are projected in 2026 in the general fund to bring in 1.0 million revenue in that general fund and 222,000 in the non-general fund. That's about a $255,000 increase in revenue. And overall revenue is going up, just like cost of business is going up. But We have not been getting reimbursed for extradition. We have close to $500,000 that we have not got one penny for. And we have been notified, trying to come up with a game plan on how to get reimbursement for some of that certain bondsmen have been ordered to pay us and they have not paid us. So we're going to start keeping track so I can send invoices out. So that $35,500 for restitution extradition, it could easily go 60, 70,000, but I wanted to be conservative. This is the first year we're going to start invoicing our bondsmen to get reimbursements.
If they don't pay the reimbursement, will you suspend them being able to bond people out?
We will explore that option as well as liability options with the county counselor. We don't want to do that, but the taxpayers are taking a huge hit because bondsmen are not listening to a judge.
Yes, exactly.
And we're not getting 100% reimbursement, just to be clear. I mean, I'm hoping 20% of that, whatever it may be, $500,000. We also have not ever invoiced for KDOC medical reimbursement when it comes to housing parolees. Statute says we can. It's a small amount, but every few thousand help. So we're going to start invoicing for that as well. So as I mentioned, we're looking at a $255,000 increase in revenue to help offset the budget. Moving on to budget review. As you can see, we're decreasing 4 employees. Now, all the other numbers went up because of cost of business, but I want to point out 2 things. Commodities and capital outlay. Commodities only up 0.4% and capital outlay is only up 0.1%. The biggest increase is going to be your contractuals. And I did the best we can to negotiate those. We actually got a cheaper price on food contract and the medical was going to go up if we switched to anything else besides the current one. So even though it's up 7% total contractual, we can't help that. I can't tell Evergy what to charge us, and I can't tell these other businesses what to charge us. They're going to charge us what they charge us. We negotiated the best we can. That's the lowest we got was a 7% increase.
Nate, on this where you're decreasing your employees by 4, the personnel services, what all was included to make it go up 591,000?
It's just the pay scales and.
$591,000?
Well, you have a 27th pay period, and Tammy advised that 300,000 was going to be that. That's what gets us this year is that 27th pay period. So if you take 591 minus 300, that's what it would be the next year when we don't have that extra pay period.
Well, I just would think that number would be lower if you're losing 4 employees, but the services go up almost that
Just to
much.
kind of give you some reference, Kathy, if you look at 24 and 25 on the same line, personnel services, as you can tell, it went from 65 to 73. And you can tell there was 9 COs that were, 9 employees. I don't want to just say all COs, but there was 9 employees from 24 to 25 that were either frozen or cut. And you can see the difference there. 800,000 roughly increase. And they cut 9 employees in 1 year or froze 9 positions, still had an 800,000 increase.
And the workman's comp then as well.
Unfortunately, work comp is up.
Yeah, from 70,000 to $116,000.
Yep, work comp is up. So I like to think the fact that we went up 591 and we only reduced 4 is a lot better than reducing 9 and still going up 800,000. So we're trying to do the best we can to work off of bare minimums. I will advise though, right now for future purposes, this is based off of our current numbers in the jail. We're working on skeleton crew right now to try to help save the county some money. If we hit 120 inmates, which is a possibility, I will be coming back once we hit 120. If I think it's a long-term, asking for 4 more COs, because that's the number we cannot safely operate in the jail. Last page is the key considerations to take into effect, because I acknowledge that we're up 9.4%. And, as a sheriff of my department, I don't want to be up 9.6, but like I said, I can't control contractuals. They charge us what they charge us. Key considerations, I do think that we're gonna be I do think we're gonna be over budget. I don't think it was budgeted proper in 2025. So to give you an example, the previous sheriff set the medical budget at 190,000 for the entire 2025 year. That doesn't include, well, actually that does include dental, medical, pharmaceutical. As you can see, within the first 4 months of 2025, we've already hit roughly 114,000. Not even halfway through the year, and we're well over halfway of hitting that budget. I estimated if we continue at the rate, which this is very moderate rate, I think it could be way over 341,000, but to be conservative, I said 341,782 is where I for sure see us at the end of 2025 for medical, dental, pharmaceutical, and all that together. That shows right there that we are over budget already at the end of the year, most likely $151,782. So I just want to address to the commissioners, you can't compare my budget to the 2025 budget. I think it's going to be over. We under budgeted. So yes, it is a 9% increase, but we're not through the year and we're already well over our budget for medical. Another portion of the budget that is way over at this time of the year is our technology hardware budget. That budget was set at 15,000 by the previous sheriff. Within the first 5 months, we've already hit 38,368. We're already over budget, 23,000 roughly. This doesn't even include the additional stuff that should have been budgeted. 20 computers are 7 years old and they're not compatible after October, I believe 25th. Yes, October 25th. That will be another cost that we have to try to pull from our budget to make it work. So the total for the 20 computers, that's $26,859. That was not considered into the budget of 2025.
Well, how have they been working? You know, we had that big Windows update a few years ago, so they would have been, shouldn't have even been working.
Well, as my IT guys tell me, Windows 10 will work until that day. They will not allow Windows 11 to be on those old computers.
Well, that's what we were doing.
Yeah. Now you can operate Windows 10, but we open ourselves up for attacks. So we can't have that. That's a necessity that we got to have that.
Well,
So-
I just think that it just shows how important it is to do line item budgets, because basically they were just throwing in numbers there and living off of the fact that they hadn't filled any positions in the jail. You know, so where they're over budget on the 3 Cs, but yet they're under budget on the personnel side for the last, I think, 3 years.
Way more than that.
Well, more than that, but yeah.
And I'm going to get
Well,
to
since
those.
we've been having line items, yes.
And I'm going to get into those details. So we are making a template on what things should go into what line items, because right now I can't compare apples to apples. It's throughout all the line items. So we're going to try to get a consistency with coding. Miss Jeanette and Miss Echo are on board and they're helping already. So that should be in place for sure for the next budget to make sure that we are transparent on all of our costs and exactly what line item does that go to, and we're not stealing from other line items. For example, to back what Miss Giordani said, in 2024, the budget was over by almost $500,000 when it comes to combined contractual commodities and capital outlay. With that being said, at that time in 2024, there was 97 employees. Most of those were COs that were not filled. So what happened is, even though you're 473,000 over, they pulled from personnel lines instead. Continue. I'm not going to waste my time on 23, 22, 21. I think you guys get the point. If you look at the numbers there, one thing you're going to notice from 21 on, over budget on the 3 Cs. You're also going to notice a whole lot of employees. I think I can operate the jail with an ADP of 100 with 90 employees. Previous sheriffs thought they needed 120, 105, 104. I wasn't working then. I don't see that. And the reason I don't see that is because they never had more than average of 100 ADP in the jail. So why do we have so many COs? And why are we stealing from those line items? I'm being very transparent with you guys. Yes, it costs a lot of money to run this jail. And yes, I am up 9.4, but I'm outlining why. I'm being transparent. I'm putting the line items where they need to be. We do have $55,000 from Lake Patrol contract coming back to us to offset some of the costs. I know 55 is not much when you're dealing with a $10 million budget. We have some 10,000 from DEA and 4,000 from the STEP program to help with overtime on those categories. We are applying for a $123,253 SRO grant. That's going to offset with that in the current contracts with the school district. That's going to help offset 2 salaries. So that will bring that number down. That's not set in stone, but that will put us where we need to be flat then. We have saved over $70,000 in overtime since January. What I did was compared numbers from January to May of 2024 to January of May of 2025, because I've been here just over 5 months. We have saved $70,000 because we made changes to cut back overtime and save money for the members in Geary County, the community members in Geary County. As I mentioned before, I'm anticipating $255,000 of increased revenue. That also offsets and gets us below flat. Do some comparisons. I called Pot County. They had 14 COs, average daily population of 20 to 25, and 60 full-time employees and 7 part-time employees. I compared that to our numbers. We have 39 COs, average daily population, like I said, around 95 to 100, 84 full-time, 6 part-time. If you look at these numbers, we're about 4 to 5 times bigger than Pot County. So they told me their jail expenses are about $362,000 a year for only 20 people in their jail. If you figure the math, we're being 4 to 5 times larger. That should make our budget 1.8 if we follow in suit with what Potawatomi County charges on their expenses. Well, our jail budget is not even close to 1.8. We're 1.4. So, like I said, once again, we're making every means we can to operate the best we can, even though the budget is up. Junction City Police Department has a 2026 projected budget of $10.5 million. They have 84 employees. That's less than us. And we can all agree a jail is much harder to operate than what's under their operations. Once again, we're still below their budget. As I mentioned before, Kathy, to you, the reason it's so high on the personnel is because right there, Tammy said 300,000 roughly is just on that extra pay period. And then we have a statutory duty and obligation to provide public safety to the citizens of this county. So on my closing, I do feel like we're flat or below when you take in all the other considerations. And it's not fair to judge my 2026 proposed budget to the current one because I think it's not budgeted properly for the 3 Cs. Any questions?
No doubt it's not budgeted properly. I mean, you can see it, it's in black and white. I mean, that is things I know when we started implementing, having the line item budgets and seeing where our money's going, that's where you find the efficiencies. And our past sheriffs haven't done that. And I appreciate that you're doing that. I'm not happy with the 9% increase, but.
Me neither.
I mean, I'm gonna study it some more and see if there's anything I could suggest, but I appreciate all these considerations. But I mean, the fact that all we've lived on so far on the sheriff's department's always lived off of not filling those positions, yet charging the taxpayer every year. And then we'd have this carryover cash. And while carryover cash is good, if we're not properly spending our money, that's detrimental to our company.
I want to just talk again about the 9% increase. I don't believe it's a 9% increase. If you redo the numbers at the end of 2025, I would almost guarantee you we'll be pulling from unfilled CO spots. The reason I decreased the CO spots because I'm trying to be transparent. So I want to make sure that the commissioners take into consideration, you can't just look at 9%. I'm not hiding anything. I'm being very transparent about my line items.
No, and I appreciate that. I truly do. And I appreciate you willing to work with us on it because the past couple of sheriffs, they just, have the attitude of, I'm the sheriff, I can do what I want. And that's cost the taxpayers money, billions of dollars over the years.
But I will take considerations from all three of you guys. You can ask my undersheriff. We had our financial analyst, our admin staff. We went through this multiple times because yes, 9 looks bad, but I do believe it's required, it's necessary.
What does the subscriptions, what all do those entail? Are they, because that's a pretty sizable, $25,000 increase.
Could you tell me what the code is on the left side?
3570 and 3570 through,
Yep.
01.
It's probably like the license plate reader stuff.
Training and.
No, those come out of asset forfeiture. We don't even ask the taxpayers to pay for that. So we have, starting with the front one, the 3570, Kathy, is Frontline. So that's a software system where we do complaints from the outside, as well as internal, as well as compliments. That's where we do our uses of force. That's where we do almost all of our internal documentation that is required for accreditation and just for litigation purposes. So Frontline is something that we absolutely cannot get away from, and it is a big cost. We have NIJO, which is the jail training software. So the COs can get on there and they can do online training to improve their knowledge of jail operations. We have our fingerprint machine subscription, Leaf Online subscription. We have our Lexipool, which does all of our policy stuff. We have Clear, and then we have like just random stuff, newspapers and stuff on that subscription, which is newspapers like $79 a year. But and then the other subscription is more jail training modulars to make sure they're up to date on knowledge and best practices.
And the training registrations, are those online type things that you would do as well?
Correct. Yep. You go take so there's different tabs you can click on, and you go click on the tabs and you take different tests and review different training sessions.
Well, you talking about, I don't know how much it costs for the LPR stuff, but I'm sure it's pretty expensive. So do we have a plan yet? I know you probably don't need to, but I mean, that forfeiture money might not be there. You know what I mean?
The forfeiture is much lower than I'd like to see it because the big purchase of the substation. But I do think with our, and the SWAT vehicle. Correct. I did fail to mention we have an interdiction team now. We have one from the SO, one from the PD. That interdiction team, they're kind of funding that right now. Hopefully that funding continues. We cannot. And if the funding decreases, then we have to come to the crossroads on, do we get rid of the license plate readers, which is a huge asset, or do we explore putting that into the budget or CIP or something?
In the office breakdown, maybe I'm missing it. Financial analyst, that goes on there.
Yeah, Jeanette's not on there. I didn't see her. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, I didn't see her on there either.
She's retiring at the end of the year.
The financial analyst.
She was going to retire in June, but then she changed it to the end of the year is what I heard. Yeah, I will take any advice you guys have on helping save money.
No, I know you're.
We dissected this many hours.
Oh, I know you worked hard on it.
We made significant cuts on janitorial services. We've been doing a lot of the cleaning. I mean, we have our own jobs to do, but we're trying to, we cut about, I can't remember the exact number, but at least 8,000, if not more, off of janitorial. And we're trying to do a schedule on who's going to clean now just to help save money. But unfortunately, I can't negotiate with electric, water, utilities, the city on all that. It is what it is.
Yep. Any other questions? I think if we ever, if we do think of something, we can always call you back.
Yes, sir. All right. Thank you all.
Nice report. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I steal that thumb drive or do you want to keep it?
No.
Thank you. You guys have a good day.
Thanks.
I'll be over when we're done.
Perfect. What time are you thinking, Commissioner?
Well, this is our last one.
Okay.
so Probably 15, 20 minutes.
We'll be there.
No. That range. Administrator, so I had. No.
Did it just happen?
There you are again, Frank. My gosh, you're just an important guy.
He is important.
German. Yeah, Jeremy called me. It happened at 9.
Like I said, that our employee meeting just as I said, I just.
Hello.
You can't get rid of me, can you?
I don't want to get rid
You're
of
like a
you.
bad penny.
We like you.
Oh, they're doing away with pennies there.
Everyone likes Frank,
Everybody likes Frank.
and we're glad you're still kicking around here. My name's Julie Gilbert Walter. I'm Executive Director, North Central Flint Hills Area Agency on Aging. It's a pleasure to be here again. We appreciate all the great work that you do and the challenges that you have. I think all of us have a few. And Frank is not only here because he's such a good guy, but also because he's the treasurer of our organization.
I signed the checks.
He signs checks. And I guess that means he can also take credit for the fact that we have an unmodified audit, again, the third year in a row. And our auditors tell us that our administrative rate is, meaning the amount of money that we spend to administer the programs and services, is at 5%, meaning that we only have 95% of all the monies that our agency uses goes to programs and services. We don't have a high level of administrative cost. And I just want you to know that as we move forward. However, it does cost money, and that's sort of why I'm here. Our request for fiscal year 2026 totals $28,405. And basically, it's not a big increase. It's $159 increase, I think, in total. Most of the increase is in the health insurance area. As you know, health insurance for employees in our Friendship Meal sites we are obligated to pay for health insurance for people who work more than 30 hours a week. And just letting you know that that is an expense that we have. And unfortunately, it keeps going up every year. And sort of like the good people from law enforcement, we don't have much control over that. We've tried to find some other options, but we've not been successful at that. The other document that you have in front of you, besides our formal request, is just a fact sheet about your population. Our agency, of course, our whole goal is to help older Kansans age 60 and over and their caregivers remain part of your community, remain available to help those people be part of the civic quality of your community, as well as be there to help pay the property taxes and the other things that go along with having a vibrant community and being able to make everything work. So I just want to point out that you have right at 5,000 people in your county, which is a little bit over 13% of your total population who are age 60 and over. You also have right about 20% of those folks living alone, which is a risk factor. And again, we want to do what we can. We are doing what we can to
Did you say that number was on this sheet?
It's the sheet with the blue windmill on it.
Okay, I don't see where the living alone though.
It's,
Last line on the
it's,
top.
Oh, living alone.
yeah, there, it's there. I know, I get confused myself, so hard to read all the numbers. And the next sheet, the next part references the county funding requests we've made in the past and our fiscal year 26 summary request. I guess the good news for you is that your valuation for your county has increased. So congratulations. I also want to point out that the estimated impact of the federal dollars that we invest, I guess it's not just federal, it's all the money that we invest here in your county through services, is $4,800,000. Anyway, that's a pretty big investment, and we just take that from our auditors who tell us that we can use the investment, that the grand total of dollars you see in the next page, based on services delivered, total 979,840. You take that times, I think we use a conservative figure of 5, although our auditors tell us we could use 7. Anyway, the multiplier effect, but that gives you a picture of the amount of dollars that we're investing in monies that we receive from all sources that go to services for older Kansans and their families here in Geary County. Any questions?
So, all right, maybe I'm confused. Help me out. On this page,
Right.
it has FY 2025, and then it's been scratched out. You said an increase of $159. but-
Well, actually, I think if you read the fine print, it's a decrease.
Yeah,
So,
The one should be 2026.
yeah, I found a typo as I was sitting.
so
and
20.
It's not a scratch out, it's
2026.
So
trying
it's
to
a
make it,
decrease of 159
Yes.
for 26.
right.
Okay, I
Okay.
just wanted to make that.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification. Any other questions or observations?
I'm not familiar necessarily where, like these 40 dining centers, where are they?
Well, we have dining centers throughout our 18-county region, and we have a major dining center here in Geary County at the Geary County Senior
Okay, so that's what I wanted to make
Citizen
sure, okay.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah,
where the-
you're not paying for the other, 39. Anything else that you'd like clarification on? I think we do have a vacancy on our board. As much as we love Frank, we have another appointment that we need to submit to you to fill our board position that's vacant. And I think we've identified a person, but right now I'm not ready to make that public because I want to make sure that there's agreement, shall I say.
She said yes.
Okay. Well, we still need to get a letter.
I think these services are wonderful, and years back, I don't know if I was able to not find information, because I was trying to find services for my parents,
Yes.
and I had a terrible time finding services, and I just wonder where all this information is at that people need, or
We
maybe
are,
have online.
we do have an online presence on our website. And actually, we're working to improve and forge ahead our information. A lot of folks refer to our newspaper keynotes. You probably have heard about that. We are publishing right now on an occasional basis. We're working on another edition that'll come out sometime in July. But we know that a lot of times
People that need this information aren't the ones that necessarily have access to a lot of those things, and I guess I don't know at what point, how would they be able to get that information? Because again, I was about ready to quit my job to just take it, be an advocate for my folks, to put them places and find out what
Right.
services are available to them, because it just was really hard to find.
One source of information, you should have been able to get some basic information, is the senior center, Geary County Senior
And the
Center.
extension office.
Yes, that's true too. But the reality is, most people, until they hit that place where they need help, don't think about calling the local area agency on aging, which there are area agencies on aging serving people throughout the whole United States. And we are the gateway to help people access programs and services. Our federal funding, as you might guess right now, is somewhat precarious, but it's never been that generous, meaning, to implement visibility and public relations has not been our priority. Well, that's one of the ways we keep our administrative costs below 5%. Now, if we put more money into administration, we would probably be
Well, your
doing a better
services
job.
are awesome. I think it's wonderful. And I think again, in our community, I think we need to push because of our senior population. So we need to make sure people are aware of these services and can take advantage of them, because they're not any good if they're not aware of them.
Right.
So I guess just teach education
Yes.
to them, and, maybe even at the senior center or wherever there's, places for people to have access to that
Yes.
information, because again, the older people aren't gonna necessarily go seek out that information. My parents, I thought, were fortunate to have us kids to go out after that information, but not all people are gonna
That's
have
true.
their kids to do the work we did to find places for our folks.
That's true. Point well taken. I'll take that back and we'll discuss it further and see what more we might be able to do. But we are making major changes to our website, even as we speak. The other key piece of information that you have is every year we do our major event. It's right down the road at the Tony's Pizza Event Center. It's a one-day, I call it an information extravaganza for people to gain resource information. We also are going to be focusing this year on Social Security, what's going on with Social Security, frauds and scams, a variety, Alzheimer's. It's a variety of important information. We focus on the things that people need to know about. The cost, which includes a sit-down banquet, is $25. We have to have money in order to pay for certain expenses, but it's a real bargain in terms of finding out what's going on and getting credible. And I want to just emphasize the importance of getting trustworthy and credible information, because there's a lot of stuff on the internet. Some of it's okay, and some of it's just bogus. What you get from our organization and affiliates is credible information that is not oriented to, we're scam-free, we're fraud-free, and that's important, working with older people and their caregivers. I don't know about you, but there's a whole bunch of things out there that's sort of enticing, and you can click on the button and then find yourself, well, in a no-bads world with a bunch of stuff. And we hear of people every day who got scammed out of their money. I've talked to bankers who are saying, we need to do something about, they were talking specifically about romance scams, but it's out there. And until we make more people aware about it, number one, and get people willing to talk about their situation, because a lot of times people who've had these scams happen to them don't want to talk about it. It's a big deal. And our Keynotes newspaper addresses this, and we will be addressing it in our major event on September the 16th. And I think last year I invited all of the county commissioners to come, because I think, I know it's on a Tuesday and that's not necessarily the best day, But I want to just let you know, we'd love to see you there and love to hear what you think about our event, which is a major thing. And the other thing I want to mention is that this year, our agency is celebrating 50 years of services in our 18 county region. So it's a celebration, credible information. Please spread the word. We'd love to see you there, see your friends, family, constituents there. It's an important resource for everybody.
Yeah, the fraud is very prevalent. In my past life, I was a police officer and did a lot of those investigations, and it's very sad. They would take a lot of their money.
We're working on an initiative to bring all of the folks on our teams out in the field to get, I'll just call it a short course seminar just focused on frauds and scams, so they can take it to their local communities and be better, more enhanced resources. So stay tuned. I'm right now we're planning it to be part of our Sunflower Fair. Are there any other questions?
Anything you got, Frank?
Huh?
Do you have anything to add?
No?
Okay.
We want to keep Frank's hand warmed up so he can continue to write the checks. to the vendors. And we're really grateful for Frank's time and commitment.
Well, let us know when you verify your vacancy person.
I'll be sending a letter soon to Therese, and I guess she'll give it to you guys. Is that how? Okay,
That'll be fine.
thank you.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We appreciate your support and all the other things that you get to do as commissioners. Thank you.
I'm leaving now.
All right. But asking us for money.
I thought maybe you'd stay here for a while.
Yeah.
Have a great evening. I
Thank
guess you
you.
get to go home sometime.
Yeah.
We're done. We're done.
Yeah, I know. Are you adjourning?
I didn't even call it the.
No, true. Sorry, I didn't want to end the thing until I knew we were done.